Today, we're going to be discussing the nature versus nurture problem.
Psychologists around the world have spent decades digging away at this, hoping to uncover the underlying reasons as to why human beings act the way they do.
There are two fundamental reasons for their behavior: nature, the environment a subject is born into, and nurture, a subject's treatment over the course of his or her life.
If one is trying to explain behavior through nature, there's a very limited biological lens that we can look at life with. Personality, physical traits, etc., they're all inherited characteristics. But genes are what form the set of instructions for our body parts, and genetically speaking, we share more than 99% of DNA. If that's the case, why aren't we the same? We're not the same because there's more to life than biological blueprints.
From the point of conception to the point of adulthood, tons of things happen to you, and this is where nurture comes in. The technical term used is the environment, which is basically all the stuff that goes around us. One of the mistakes people make regarding this topic is that they regard nurture as only the social environment of a person, but that is untrue, as any change or anything around the person can have an effect on them. For example, a pregnant mother drinking alcohol could easily harm a fetus. There's been a long, ongoing debate between giftedness and consciousness. For example, the musical capabilities of Beethoven can be debated over whether his excellence was due to his nature or nurture.
People will argue that was just naturally talented. What we can take away from this, though, is that there are characteristics that are fixed or not changeable. People don't have control over their learned behaviors all the time. However, some behaviors that are learned are malleable. Beethoven, for example, learned from his environment, from his teacher or his father who made him practice composing. Psychologically, you might therefore lean with saying that he was not extraordinarily gifted, but rather learned to compose music.
This is a sensitive topic as it implies that inherent capability is unequal among human beings. If you're born without something, that leaves you at a substantial disadvantage.
You therefore have to ask yourself the question, should a person who's not musically talented give up the idea of learning the piano before even starting?
So, are there any psychological characteristics or behaviors that are completely natural or nurtured? A clear example for the natural side is a condition called Huntington disease, a defective gene that results in defective protein, whose effects occur in the 30s or 40s, and it damages certain types of the brain cells. It results in apathy, which is being disinterested in a subject they would otherwise have an interest in, trouble in initiating actions, or having involuntary actions. So going back to nature, it is inherited, it impacts gene, and it is a fixed characteristic. Nevertheless, however bleak nature might be at times, its symptoms can be alleviated or treated with sufficient nurturing.
An example of nurturing is the type of language one speaks. For example, if a child lives in China, he or she will learn Mandarin. In the United States, he or she will learn English. This relates to the social learning theory, reinstating the fact that we identify and change in accordance to our surroundings all the time. However, psychological behavior can most consistently be understood by a combination of nature and nurture. Nature dictates who we are, nurture dictates who we become. At the end of the day, neither can truly survive without the other.